this deal that grows like 500%. Well done, sorry to disturb. Thank you. This one is supposed to be a deep dive, so it's technical in nature. I don't know if you made it by mistake that we put it as a presentation, but it shouldn't be a problem. Who of you have been to my session yesterday? I don't know. If we have that many cups, that's already a deserved reward for that. Okay, I will start again, since there's many of you new to my session, and my name is quite difficult for a name to spell. So it's quite easy to be said. It's Bogusz. I come from Poland, been with netapp over 7 years, working with netapp technology over 10 years. It was a lot at first sight, and I cannot imagine changing it for anything else. There will be no marketing over here. We are directly going to a product at this point. If you don't appreciate that, you can always come for my next session, which is more generic in nature, and it's about integrated data protection happening in focus group 1. Go to the point, because I'm going to miss the time again. That's what I did yesterday, and it would be good to turn on the presenter so it actually starts working. Right, all-flash fast. As the name says, our crown jewel product in netapp, fast, that we have been developing for over 23 years, has been turned SSD-driven only. You might ask for the reasons to do it. Well, SSD is the new disruptive standard. I was talking about it extensively yesterday, and I will not put all the issue on the table again, but we think that next year SSD will be in the price of a sales drive. It will be bigger in capacity. There is no comparison in terms of environmental specs and performance, as you know. For that reason, we're moving to all-flash arrays. Our broad offering is 8000 series. This, as you know, in storage world, we attach the requirements to the hardware itself. So the only difference between these models is the capability of delivering IOs, nothing else. All the features, the same operating system, same features, same licensing, and what's most important, this is not fast with SSD attached shelf. This is all-flash fast. It means two things. ONTAP, our operating system, is rewritten or adjusted to serve only SSD workloads, first point. And second point, everything you've ever heard about fast around features we develop on our operating system are included with the bundle. So any license, any feature, any replication, any cloning, any snapshotting, whatever you might think of on the storage level is coming over with a bundle product in here. And thirdly, the price. It's not the price of a fast with attached SSD shelf. I can guarantee you attaching SSD shelf to a fast box will be more expensive. I was just about to say double the price. Perhaps not, but it will be more expensive. All-flash arrays are the bundles. So think of it creatively in terms of answering the question whether flash is still too expensive for a person in Eastern, Middle, West, whatever, Europe. It's not anymore. And it's another factor to start buying all flash instead of mechanical disks. Right, all of that I've recently covered. I'm not going to go into detail in terms of cluster ONTAP, but our operating system we've been developing for 23 years as well with a software company. So we're creating data management solution, not the hardware itself. We buy it from external vendors. Our operating system, we spent $1 billion a year to develop on, and that has been, as I said, adjusted to serve SSD workload. That includes optimized drivers, optimized read paths, optimized usage of memory, and that's what I'm going to go into in this deep dive. However, that's romantic, isn't it? After several years of working in data center, I'm fed up with this, honestly. I'm a netapp guy and I'm telling you, I'm fed up with this. There's bigger, romantic, enthusiastic story behind it. So I only owe you an explanation. This is 8020 controller I/O. As you can see, it has some default ports and PCI slots available on the controller itself. That's a single controller. Basically, with 8000 series, we don't go for one controller, but we always have HA pair. So we have higher availability in terms of takeovers and kickbacks. But still, we have 2 PCI slots. Altogether, it makes it 4. That's not enough. That's not a lot, first of all. Only 2 SAS ports. It means we can serve 1 stack on board, up to 10 shelves. With all flash, 10 shelves is a maximum for the whole array. And it's best practice to have 1 shelf per stack. So if we go for 4 shelves, we need additional cards for SAS ports. We're done with the slots. For that reason, netapp actually is removing the offering for 8020 as a basic system, and we are reducing the price of 8040. And this sounds much better, doesn't it? We've doubled everything on this controller. What I want to underline over here is this line. I wasn't particularly aware until some time ago that we are, if not a single, but one of a few vendors that provide Unified Target Adapter version 2 cards integrated on board. It makes a hell of a difference for a simple reason. SFP Plus modules included over here are able to serve at one point block access in terms of iSCSI on 10 gig and network attached storage access. SIFS and NFS. SIFS SMB 123.0 and NFS 234.4.1 and PNFS from one box. That's unification we do on fast. Well, I suppose you all knew it. So that's a distinctive thing. We can do it simultaneously, but of course, as you can see, 4 ports. There are 2 ASIC modules, so you basically decide whether first 2 are do what they are doing and the second 2 what they are doing. But there's no point to exchange SFP+. That's the biggest differentiator. In terms of 10 gigs, with cluster data on top, you're going to lose first 2, well, dedicated for cluster communication. Whether it's between the controllers or whether it's connected to a switch. So you can count them off while configuring the system. Gigabit Ethernet is still a standard. I don't know how Romania goes for 10 gig, but back in my country, which is not that much advanced compared to you, we go for 10 gig in every new data center. In terms of existing data centers, it's not that popular that much yet. I think we're going to move there to 40 gig, but that's just my impression. And everything is here. You can see 2 SAS stacks, that's even better. But still, I can imagine it is saturating the controller in terms of back-end and front-end from what is included on board. That's very important over here. In terms of 16 gig fiber channel, and I was told Romania likes fiber channel like we do, like all Eastern Europe does, for some reasons. I've been discussing for several years now. That's enough to saturate it. And good luck with saturating a single 16 gig. Right, that's a default shelf, and that's pretty obvious. Because of the vendors of these drives who have just given up producing 3.5-inch SSD drives, we're doing only this size. This shelf is combining 24 drives. You can start with a minimum of 6 by configuring a new shelf, and then disk by disk. Of course, there are some best practices for RAID configuration. Those of you who are experienced with netapp know that the default RAID boot size for SSD with on-tap is 24. Of course, we can start smaller, but we can also go bigger, and we can have 32 disks maximum per RAID group. With SSD architecture and the rebuild time, I'm also guessing that RAID 4 might be enough for you. But we're strongly advertising the world parity over here. Okay, the shelf is going to come back later on. 7-year warranty for an SSD drive. To make a long story short, there's no single industrial SSD drive yet on the market that would have this kind of warranty proven for a simple reason. The drives we're currently offering are maximum 2 years old. So nobody has been able to test 7-year-old drive. But the lifetime expectation for an SSD drive is 7 years. With All Flash Fast, you can buy 7-year warranty, no conditions are high. There's no such difference. There's the difference like, oh, we're gonna use our system very right aware, or we're gonna do garbage collection every evening or whatever that we got will limit the age of our SSD drives. No, I know that other vendors do it. I was told about it from the department. But we don't do it. There are no conditions. So pretty much, you're getting the drives, you don't have to worry. All those questions around, is this well leveling this well, are these cells constructed in this matter or the other, these are all academic disputes. You only care about the SSD drive because we're going to replace it within 7 years every time it's broken. And as you know, there's a proactive analysis going for on each SSD drive. That's why we're going to know in advance, if you have your auto support enabled, whether your SSD drive is wearing out. And you can get it before it breaks down. Well done, man. Cool. Well, OnTap, as you know, gives you the ability to connect several controllers into one logical organism. If it's fiber channel, we connect up to 8 nodes together. If it's NAS, we connect up to 24. The SPC1 test conducted without our sponsorship, I always underline that it's not being manipulated in any way, has proven that this fiber channel cluster is able of delivering 3.8 million IOs out of SSD drives. It's enough to connect 48 drives to fully saturate the controller. And it applies to all flash files and it applies to E-Series. And I suppose other vendors have exactly the same issue. For the simple reason, the processors and the memory are not capable yet of doing anything else. Perhaps when we go with 3D RAMs, that's going to change. But it's always, as you know, price-wise, when the new product is introduced, so people might not want to invest there. Okay, how is OnTap optimized to use SSDs? As you know, we have our write anywhere file layer. That's a file system. A big topic for discussion, whether we are emulating fiber channel or not. I'm not going to touch it now, and I'm not going to let you provoke me to do it. But still, that's a file system that gives you storage efficiency. Because of having this file system, we're so good at replicating data, snapshotting data, cloning data, deduplicating, compressing, compacting data, etc. Everything we can do with data on our level. Because we're so much more than just storage. We're doing data management actively on it. In order to make most of an SSD drive, we are bypassing waffle at some point. What happens? Incoming writes are processed in memory. Well, that's pretty logical because the memory is a cache. So every I/O is happening in cache. But we are doing our best to delay the write to a drive for a simple reason. The less writes you perform on an SSD drive, the longer it lasts, you know the architecture. And secondly, memory is the fastest chipset on the system, always. There's nothing faster than RAM. So we stay in RAM as long as possible. We remove critical latency because we bypass file system. Now, we are coalescing writes. Just like it's happening in NVRAM, we create a full stripe. So you write at least 256 blocks at one point. Why? What's the default waffle block size?
4K.
Who said that? You shouldn't have spoken at all. I need to withdraw the question. Well, 4K block. If we divide 256 by 4, we get a number. That's the actual number of disks we can involve into one single write. It means we get 64 times. For fast, we get 7,000 IOPS out of SSD drives, so we get 64 drives to perform the write. That's a hell of a workload. If we're writing the full stripe, we're writing what? Sequentially. Again. So random access, random writes are not an issue over here because we're always writing sequential. Each and every fast controller is sized for random access of the maximum performance it provides by catalog. So if 8080 model is capable of 320,000 IOPS, if you attach enough drives, you can be always sure that random writes will happen in this manner. And that's certain for each and every model of FAS. Okay. As a result, we don't have a critical latency path. We bypass waffle. So, we reduce the impact of random operations. Like I said, we are coalescing the writes, so we're limiting the amount of writes happening to SSD drives. So we are extending the performance and SSD lifetime. We never overwrite the block on SSD. Why? Because we keep the data in memory as long as possible. So we are overwriting in memory, not on drive. Again, increasing the lifetime, increasing the performance. Less garbage collection, what happens with each overwrite? As you know, most of the SSDs these days are performing a full page scan for each block every time they do a garbage collection. That's a hell of an operation. That's creating a lot of latency in SSD still. So some might say we should keep mechanical drives because they are better for writes. Well, not if you're using all-flash drives. These writes are happening in memory again. Well, write amplification, very expensive SSD drive of write amplification later one operation for one write are not being industrially introduced. Why? Like I said, very expensive. So nobody's selling them. It's not performant or price-wise compared to performance products. And write striping has been our manner for years with ONTAP and NVRAM, so we keep it simple as it is. So I pretty much said everything in advance. Okay. Read optimizations. Again, we're giving additional 1 millisecond latency saving to a FAS, just because before, you know this operation by heart if you have ever used FAS at all. Waffle, write, storage, front-end, hold, NVRAM, etc., etc. Each and every step on the path. It's good that you are acknowledging the write at the NVRAM level, pretty much when it comes to a cache. But still, in the background, we could get saturated if we, for example, perform parallel replication and a coding snapshot at one time, and there's the duplication happening in the way. We improved a bit with 8.3, but guess what? To have all-flash FAS, we need to have 8.3.1 at least. And at this level, we're bypassing each and every unnecessary level. So we're going directly from storage to network, and network means fiber channel on NAS. We're only using waffle if there's an error correction required or there's an error discovered when reading directly from an SSD drive. Another thing is, with all-flash FAS, you have storage efficiency enabled by default. In other words, inline deduplication and inline compression is always on, unless you turn it off, but it's always on. There's an additional CPU performance gain. You need to be aware of that because bypassing those levels enables us to save storage efficiency. Okay. Compare them. 8.2.2 will be like 1 year old, I suppose, with $1 billion investment in development within this year. With 8.3.1, we have improvement of around what? At least 100,000 IOPS in theory. That's what 88 is capable of doing, but if you go lower, 8 to 60 is 250, and 8040 will be 160,000 IOPS of a single box. Okay. Features included in terms of storage efficiency for all-flash FAS. Inline zero deduplication. The most romantic story for VMware, as an example. If you use thick disks, what's happening is that we get a disk which is opposite to thin provision. You can use the amount of space and the rest to the maximum size filled up with zeros. So we get pretty much writing zeros. All-flash FAS is able to detect the thick disk, and instead of writing several zeros, we're going to write 1 0, and the other ones will be replaced with directives into this zero, with pointers, actually. So we're saving performance and we're saving disk space. If you are a creative admin, and I believe you all are, or architect, doesn't really matter, you know that fin provisioning is the way to get back money out of the investment. It's a ROI here. So you can basically buy a 20 terabyte all-flash pass, but sell 50 terabytes out of it. And that's the way to do it, at the first one. Second point. The most popular database in the world, I think, Oracle, is writing data in 8K blocks. Unique. There's a unique hash with every 8K block with Oracle. 8K sounds like a multiplication of 4K block, our default block size. Well, pretty much it is. But still, if you are getting 8K coming from a network, you need to align it to a 4K block. What we are doing now, instead of duplicating, we're compressing data into 4K. And I can guarantee you this 8K will get compressed into 4K block over there and aligned. So we get a single operation, read operation, for every 4K block. And we get 8K block out of there. Why alignment is so important? I've seen scenarios with VMware where LANs were not aligned because of zero offset that is being done by PowerNFS. Aligning LANs improved efficiency by 50% of a single LAN, each and every LAN. With this, we do not have to worry about it again. Because I use the Oracle example, but it's not about Oracle only. Fortunately, no. And always on the duplication for VDI. At this time, there's a separate window to configure that. All-flash fast is a great candidate for VDIs, and we do it very often. The POCs for IFF happen mostly for VDIs. Why? Because of a good store, because of a similar workload coming from hundreds of workstations. What happens usually with call centers, support centers, whatever, whichever organization is doing VDIs, and they're all storing the same files. So Flash is coming into a hand. And I don't have a slide on it, but this duplication, I mentioned Oracle, has not been effective for unique hash blocks. But there's a new version of OLTAP coming with a very certain feature. It's going to be on all-flash fast as well. Have you ever heard of CERN laboratory? The big hadron collider? Luckily, statistics coming from this collider are being stored on fast. And CERN is our official reference. You just go to YouTube, put CERN netapp, and you can watch the video and everything that's underneath. CERN gave us their Oracle databases for testing because they required data compression, let's say. They needed better effectiveness. They gave us the database and said, test it, do whatever you want, we want you to improve. So we took it in, and guess what? We found out that within latest versions of Oracle, if you define a table space, just like a thick disk, the index decides whichever row you fill in. So you get gaps, white holes in the table space. On the disks, it means zeros. Now we detect these white spaces, and we compact them. So we remove the zeros. Instead of duplicating the database, we're compacting it. And it gave us results on the actual database of CERN of 30 to 1. Data saving. 30 to 1. So, the duplication, compression, data compaction. That creates even better usage of SSD drive, right? So with the newer ONTAP, you will be able to save even more money for yourself or for your customer. That's coming very soon. All right. Performance, I just mentioned before, but these are actual technical reports. I'm going to give you a list of resources that were used for this presentation. But this is actual technical report done jointly with Microsoft. The number is over here. You can find it on fieldportal.netapp.com. Pay attention to the numbers. It's the exactly same database that's going to happen for Oracle on the next slide. Maximum 280 KIOS with 1 millisecond latency. Why is the difference so big? With only 200 microseconds, 100 KIOS. with 2 microseconds, 200 microseconds. Anybody know? Yes, as well. But the cache should deal quite well. Should deal quite well with 0.8 milliseconds. Why is the difference so big? Because of the file system. With Microsoft, you need to have what? Windows? Yeah, do I get the name right? If you have Linux, you need to have a file system on it. Let's go to Oracle. Oracle can happen on Linux. You can have raw devices going directly to Oracle onto that. See how much we get from the exactly same configuration? If you're looking for better latency than that, 0.6 is very good. But if you need better latency, you need to go with E-Series. E-Series is proven to deliver maximum performance with 0.2. I cannot imagine a scenario you need this kind of latency, but still, if you do, go for E-Series. And that's a proven performance report. Again, the number to be found on pr2.com, and I suppose Google will also help you to find it elsewhere on the network. Space savings, I literally didn't mention that, but as you know, with IFF, storage savings are enabled by default. So not only we're providing these IOs, but simultaneously we're deduplicating and compressing data, which will even better be here. So something for a cost of something. All right. Multiple deployment options, that's just for a summary before we move to best practices. Well, it depends on you. I'm just saying that we are very flexible with it. It depends on you how you adopt it to your needs. But it's very important to know you can move it around and it's going to last. You can migrate the workload, you can migrate the data, you can reattach and reconfigure the cluster, and you have 100% availability. And that's the point of the slide. Okay, sizing. I should have checked whether SDN is available to the customers as well, but let's assume it is. That's our internal tool that gives you, let's say, a verified resource in terms of sizing the system for your needs. In other words, we guarantee that what SDN says, we are actually doing. So you can rely on this result. Best practices. My favorite best practice is use at least 8 LUNs and 4 volumes with the system. But because of a SAS stack nature, we have 2 modules every shelf. Assign slots 0 to 11, 1 pool, and the other slots to a second pool. That will assure that IOM module will deal with one part and the second one will deal with the second part. And what's very important over here is advanced drive partitioning. Up to the day, on FAS, each and every controller was the owner of the amount of disk. Usually you would divide by half, but it would mean that only this controller is the owner. With the newest ONTAP, we're coming over with advanced drive partitioning. It means each and every disk will be divided by half in terms of ownership. So every disk will be 50% owned by one node and 50% owned by the second node. It will give us additional 17% of savings in terms of disks, because being owned by one node means creating a separate aggregate. So at least additional 2 drives for parity with dual parity. With ADP, you only need 1 aggregate and even redistribution of drives. For those of you who already started to think about moving to ADP, you need to wipe out the disk from the existing config. But if you start from scratch, it's performance-wise to do it with ADPs already. Combined with root drive partitioning, we're not anymore doing a dedicated aggregate for root configuration. As you know, there's no more text files in terms of configuration of FATs. It's all being stored in database now. We spread the root volume across all drives. We take 256 K chunks from every drive and we write root data to it. Once we reach the number of drives, we start again writing root drives. So it's basically redistributed along all the drives, so you save at least another 2 drives, not using the aggregate. Okay. To achieve the total and best performance of FAS, I underline that use at least 4 volumes configured on one aggregate, it's performance-wise, and use at least 8 LANs. It's not only because of the storage, it's because of the hosts. Even though with generation 3 hosts, you are now able to do like 6-7 gigs per second with one host, if you're lucky, if you're well configured. But because of the queue depth, because of the nature of the protocols we use, it's wise to have at least 8 LANs. Then you're going to achieve the full performance. And that's the way we conduct our testing, to maximize the LAN rates. LANs also mean volumes as well. All volumes, 8 LANs means 2 LANs per volume. If you have at least 4 volumes, then you're fine. Then you're on the safe side. And always leave storage efficiency enabled. With SSD, it's not an issue anymore. Okay, saturated ports, that's pretty obvious, 10 gig and 16 gig. Latest version of data on tap. I know it's, well, it's a delicate topic. Usually when the new on-tap version is being issued, it's a release candidate. We have had so many calls with a release candidate as a production system. It is, because it's available officially on our website and you can use it for production. It depends on you. But always use the latest version. 8.3.2 has been the quickest GA system I've ever seen in my career with NetApp.
No, but it's like
5 weeks old, yes. It's not more than that. So they're being very, very, very mature in a better manner of time than before. And again, use multiple hosts if you want to achieve the maximum. The resources I've used and the resources you should use. It's all available to you, and I underline that. We have a CPOC, okay, I start differently. POC procedure for AFF. It gives you step-by-step instruction how to test AFF or how to configure it properly in order to get the maximum performance. This document is available on pr2 as well. Use our CPOC if you are not able to do it on your own. So engage us, and we can even give you a try and buy system if required for the requirement. We have several people involved in Eastern Europe for the team. I'm one of them, but there's several others that would help you on any other division. And the TRs I mentioned before, there are several others as well. So several porters use on the difference. For the end, I want to underline that I'm very grateful for your presence. For a simple reason, second day at the conference is always the toughest one. I can see it on everyone's faces, or many people's faces, on my own as well. So congrats until surviving. Until this time, we give you additional 5 minutes of break. And at 4 p.m. my another session starts in the other room, and I'm going to wait another 5 minutes as well this time. If you have any questions, I'm available outside. And promise me, we're going to start using AFF quite soon. All flash is a standard, and it's a disruptive standard, and we're not moving away from it. You're going to have to.
Are you aware of extending the partner list from, you know, that now you are like only Trend, Sophor, and Symantec?
In terms of antivirus scanning? No, I'm not aware of expanding the list. But it's getting as simple as it is because we're using external scanning servers. It's not anymore integrated into OneTap. So pretty much if you follow the design guide for configuring Swift access for use scanning, you can actually use anything. It depends on you. There are some integrations available, but if you want to use elsewhere, there's no issue around doing it. But there's several partners available at the expo. Just go and keep them in the hand make them integrate. It's very simple. Any other